video, we're going to be focusing on the first interpersonal effectiveness skill, which is called FAST. So when I describe this skill to clients, I tend to use building blocks to help them understand how important that first skill of FAST is. So starting with FAST being that very first block, or the foundation of our interpersonal effectiveness skills, followed by give and dear man, which will be in another video. So today we're going to focus on FAST. And FAST skills are all about building our self-esteem and tend to focus on the way in which we talk or treat ourselves, because those things impact how we feel about ourselves, the way in which we interact with other people. FAST skills also help us to maintain our self-care, so making sure that we're following our values, that we're being fair to ourselves and others. So the very first skill in the set of FAST skills is be fair. So being fair looks at being fair to ourselves as well as the other person or the other people that we are in a relationship with. So it's not just about validating other people, but also validating ourselves. So it's okay if we want to say no to something, or it's okay if something makes us uncomfortable and we decline to participate in it. The second step in FAST is no apologies. And this particular skill looks at not over-apologizing. We want to make sure that we aren't apologizing for things that aren't actually our responsibility. So all of these skills are focusing on maintaining our self-esteem and our self-worth. If we're apologizing for things that are not our responsibility, it starts to erode our self-respect, our self-efficacy, all of the different ways in which we feel about ourselves. So it's really important that we don't apologize when it's not warranted. And it's also really important that we don't do it because we start to believe that we don't have the right to ask for things, or we feel like we need to apologize for everything that we do. So oftentimes we hear clients say, I'm sorry that I need help, or I'm sorry that I'm asking for something. So they start to believe they don't have the right to ask for things when in fact they do. So next is stick to your values. When we do this skill, we tend to provide people with an exercise around identifying their values, because oftentimes clients really struggle to understand and identify what's important to them, what is not negotiable, so the things that they're not willing to budge on. And this exercise can be quite difficult for people at times. So we really stress the importance of them understanding what's important to them, what their non-negotiables are, so that they can be sticking to them. We talk a lot about when we don't stick to our values, how does that feel? And again, it comes back to eroding that self-respect, the self-worth, being able to advocate for ourselves, ask for the things that we need or want. So again, if we don't have, if we're not being fair to ourselves, if we're apologizing all the time and we're not sticking to our values, we're eroding that very first block of interpersonal effectiveness skills, which is those FAST skills, so maintaining our self-respect. And the very last skill is be truthful. So in this skill, we talk about not lying, how sometimes lying might feel like the best option, but in reality, it actually creates some other uncomfortable emotions for us. And again, that might go back to a value that we have around being truthful, trustworthy, honest, those kinds of things. If we're not sticking to that value, it's going to continue to erode away our self-respect. And again, then we don't have the ability to stand up for ourselves, advocate for ourselves, our needs, our wants, our desires. So making sure that we're being truthful, that we're not lying, and we're not exaggerating and making up excuses, that we're taking responsibility for our actions, because in the long run, that's going to feel better and help to maintain that very first block, which is the self-respect.